Welcome to the Michael Jackson International News Digest, Wednesday, May 13, 2020. Here are today's headlines. MJ, the real story. Michael shines like a diamond. MJ predicted COVID. How much is a Thriller jacket worth? Paris Jackson inks herself, and a deep dive into history. So today's first story is from PRWeb. It's basically a PR release for Dieter's book. Michael Jackson's friend and former manager releases interactive digital book delivering intimate look at the acclaimed artist. An interactive digital book, there's a couple of links on the Kindle edition. Does that make it interactive? And is it worth you reading this? It's an okay read. I wouldn't say it's an essential thing, but if you want to be a completist, here is the Kindle listing. So we've got Michael Jackson, the real story, an intimate look into Michael Jackson's visionary business and human side for £8.08, and visionary and intimate look into Michael Jackson's MJ universe for £4.85. There's no point, if you buy the first book, don't buy the second one, because visionary is is just exactly the same as the first book. They've taken a couple of chapters out of the first one and repackaged it as a separate book. So the next story is from the Stewardship Report, Connecting Goodness. This is from Dr. Kazuko, Real Genius, Brilliantly Shining, My Story of Michael Jackson. This is a really nice story, and I'm going to read it. It'll only take a couple of minutes. So, in the late 1960s, I was committed to stop the destruction of the Beacon Theatre. It was a cultural gem on the Upper West Side of Manhattan that had to be saved. One day, I received a call from Mr. Moskowitz asking me to come to his office. I met a manager of a group called the Jackson 5. He said the group was making their first tour, and he wanted to borrow funds from Mr. Moskowitz for the tour. Mr. Moskowitz asked me to go with them on the tour and take the box office proceeds to bring back to New York. At first I refused, saying I only knew about classical music or classic music. I knew nothing about pop, but as it was the request of Mr. M, whom I owed so much kindness, I finally agreed, and I flew off to a town called Gary, Indiana. After all, I'm well aware of the box office. I went to the venue where the Jackson 5 was playing that night, and I was so shocked to find the hall practically empty. The group was then unknown and no one came, but the concert started anyhow. 5 young children singing and dancing. Then a small kid appeared as if rolling around on the stage like a shining diamond. He was absolutely electrifying. This was the youngest of the 5, Michael Jackson. I was absolutely mesmerised by his performance. Not waiting for the end of the concert, I headed backstage. Realising how much I loved his performance, he came up to me, jumping to hug me. We exchanged big hugs, and I told him, I want to take you boys to Japan. I'm not even sure if he had ever heard of Japan, but he replied enthusiastically, yes, I want to go with you to Japan. The box office was truly disappointing. I was supposed to take half of it back to Mr. Moskowitz. The manager of the group, who I met at Mr. M's office, was so angry that Mr. M had stopped the certified check he gave him the day before. He screamed who would stop payment. This meant that they could not continue the tour. I didn't know about this until he asked for my help, but I couldn't do anything. But somehow the tour was able to continue through until the end, and it was a tremendous success. After the tour, thanks to the little Michael, the Jackson 5 became famous quickly. After this tour, they were invited to tour Europe. This tour too was a big success. The Jackson 5 became instantly well known throughout Europe. At the Liverpool Empire Theatre, their success superseded the Beatles. They played for Queen Elizabeth. With unbelievable speed, they became world famous. Shortly after, Michael's solo career blossomed, and the King of Pops was born. The rest is history. When I first met Michael, I was very busy as a global impresario of cultural events, not pop, but my musical background helped me to recognise his enormous talent. No matter what genre, genius always shines like a diamond. Whether a pianist, a violinist or conductor, genius always shines. She then goes on to talk a little bit more about the Beacon Theatre. But let's get back down to, where is Michael? One day, the house manager of the Beacon Theatre that Michael Jackson was coming to the Beacon told me. That doesn't make sense. I knew by that time that Michael never was performing at a theatre smaller than Giant Arenas. So obviously this is now, it sounds like this is in the 90s. So I thought that maybe Michael was going to use the Beacon Theatre just for rehearsal. I recalled my brief encounter backstage in the Midwest years back and thought if he remembers me, I would say hi. Oh yeah, so it's the summer of '95. Michael announced he would like to produce the ultimate production of film. This would be the very pinnacle of performing arts for TV. He wanted to do this in an intimate surrounding. Thus, the Beacon Theatre was chosen for Michael Jackson one night only. The date was set for December 10 to broadcast, and December 8 and 9 were chosen as filming dates. This show would highlight a few numbers of Michael's most famous songs with new choreographies, such as Thriller, A Clockwork Orange, Dangerous, Childhood, Beat It, Smooth Criminal, Bad, etc. Michael wanted to be close to his fans, so the Beacon was chosen. Michael had a special wish. He wanted to collaborate with the famous pantomime, or mime, Marcel Marceau in the Childhood. Marceau never shared the stage with anyone, but after talking to Michael, he agreed to cooperate. He flew from France to New York to meet with Michael. All was going well for the whole week of rehearsal. However, on the afternoon of December 6th, during the rehearsal of Childhood with Marcel, Michael suddenly collapsed on the stage of the Beacon. My heart stopped when I heard this and my bones chilled. I tried to see Michael but could not get because of the security. Whose intention was this? The universe? In my mind, it continues to spook me still today. The connection of Michael and myself, the Beacon Theatre, and a song called Childhood all had some connection with Michael and me. Michael, tell me what you wanted from me. Afterward, I was told the film of this had disappeared for good. Even as of today, they never found it at his estate. There are a few mysterious incidents in our life. This is one of them. That's a really nice story, kind of connecting the Beacon Theatre with the HBO special. Anyway, here's Metalhead Zone. Normally they're obsessed with Paris. Today it's Here's How Michael Jackson Predicted the COVID-19 Days in 1991. Let's see what this is then. The official Instagram account of Michael Jackson has posted a little-known quote from the King of Pop on Instagram, and you will see how he predicted the COVID-19 days in 91. They spelled Michael wrong. That doesn't make sense. Heal the World was released in 91 and the song is about saving the world with love and peace. The official page has posted Michael's quote about politics. Here are Michael's, spell his name wrong again, wise words. Should that be wise words? Politics can't save the world, so the music people should at least try. Plus, you have to look at the chorus of Heal the World, so go ahead. Do we have to look at the chorus of Heal the World? I think I'm pretty familiar with how the chorus of Heal the World goes. See the screenshot of the Instagram stories post below. And why isn't this coming up? Here we go. Politics can't save the world, so the music people should at least try. Watch the new music video of Heal the World below. So this had absolutely nothing to do with the headline. How does this prove that Michael predicted COVID-19 back in 1991? But it's nice to see Heal the World, or the new version, getting some love. So this is from Arts and Culture, from John Lennon's piano to Michael Jackson's Thriller jacket. 6 of the most expensive music memorabilia sold at auction. Music memorabilia is big business with no item too big or too small. So where is Michael? Okay, so number 1 is John Lennon's Rolls Royce. Number 2, Bob Dylan's lyrics. Number 3, here we go, Michael Jackson's red leather Thriller jacket, 1.8 million. Michael Jackson's influential video for Thriller is known for his chilling transformation into a werewolf from that red leather jacket. It was the same piece of clothing that US gold trader Milton Verrett picked up in a 2011 auction. Another version of the jacket, which Jackson also wore on the set, remains in the hands of his estate. $1.8 million. Wow. And now we're on to The Mirror, a UK tabloid newspaper. This is obviously their digital site. Paris Jackson gives herself a foot tattoo while social distancing at home. Paris Jackson has got fed up waiting for the coronavirus lockdown to finish, so has taken having new ink on her skin into her own hands with a DIY effort. Awful sentence, James Brinsford. You should be ashamed of yourself. So here we go. What's this all about then? So with the coronavirus lockdown, meaning that visiting a tattoo parlour has been ruled out, Michael Jackson's 22-year-old daughter thought she would give it a go herself. Paris has... we're not going to read this. So here's Paris inking her foot. Are we going to get to see the actual tattoo? Yes, here we go. Lovely. And last news, a track-by-track synopsis of Michael Jackson's history 25 years later on medium.com by Ricky Alexander II. It's a 33-minute read. I'm not going to read this, but I do urge you to read this yourself. I'm going to put a link in the description. It's excellent, packed full of some really good information on the History album. It breaks down the album track by track. I think you're really going to enjoy this. That was today's International MJ News. If you have any tips, stories or breaking news, send them here first. Leave me a comment and subscribe because the best is yet to come.